Hey everybody, it's time for week 2 of 15 of our weekly previews. You can see class activity number 2 is going over the chapter together. I'll create a webcam video like I do for our agendas, and you can follow along with the textbook as we go through some of this stuff together. And then please share 3 things you've learned or found interesting from the reading. Class activity number 3, are leaders made or are they born? So if you go to our textbook and look on page 8, how does that compare with the work that you did last week, right? I asked you to think about this last week, so please share how you think it compares to what you thought. And then review page 9 of the textbook that says, can leadership be taught and skills developed? And then complete work application. Read that. It's just a paragraph or so. I'm looking over here because my book's over here. And then complete work application 1-6, which is on page 9 in the left-hand margin. So that's what you can report on. Let's see. Activity number 4, leadership potential. And I think that's on page, what page that's on? Page 3 maybe? Please complete the self-assessment that starts on page 3. After you complete the assessment, make sure you read the summary at the end, okay? Don't forget to read the summary at the end. Did your score surprise you? Why or why not? What skills do you think you need to work on based on this survey, right? Class activity number 5, leadership managerial roles continued. So you filled out concept application 1-2 last week, right, on page 13. So refer to learning plan 2 and review the correct answers. So when you go to our learning plan for this agenda, you're going to find the answers, right? Because it's not like it's a test or anything, but I really want you to think about, try to reason your way through it before you look at any answers, right? So that's why I always put them in the next week. So you can go to Learning Plan 2 and check your answers, and then just report out, like, how did you do? What surprised you? And our last class activity is defining leadership with the 5 key elements. This is on page 5. Now remember, if you're using if you happen to accidentally get the wrong edition to this textbook, we're in edition 6. We just went to that, edition 5. You're going to find the same stuff, but the page numbers aren't going to line up for you. Pretty close to all the same stuff, the important stuff. So if you look on page 5, which I've got my book here, they talk about defining leadership with the 5 key elements. So review those 5 key elements and then answer the 5 work application questions, left-hand margin again. I think they're always on the left-hand margin, those work applications. Left-hand side, note if you're not currently working, just please use your last job to help you answer those questions. So answer, let me see, I want to make sure it's where I think it is. Yeah, 1-5. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. There's 1 through 5. There's actually 5 of them. That's why it says 5 work applications. Confusing myself here. But they're both on the left-hand side margin, just on 2 different pages, and there's 5 of those. They're easy. They actually are you're going to be able to use your personal work experience to answer those questions. And then the official assignments. So next week, read chapter 2 and review the PLE and the ED project handouts. Assignment number 5 is the week 2 agenda summary. So again, you're going to report out on these areas. It's like Vanna White, these areas. Oops, I got to get center. These areas of yellow, right, in your week 2 agenda summary. Click on the link. It'll take you right to the journal. Click on create journal entry. And then number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, and 6. There we go. Assignment 6 is an internet search talking about or looking and investigating this topic of ethical leadership, okay? So review the section of the week's reading talking about ethical leadership. I think it begins on page 50 in the 6th edition of this book. Search the internet for 2 articles dealing with ethical leadership. And this might be an example of poor ethical leadership, but it might be an example of really good ethical leadership. It can be both, or do one of both. Please summarize the article in a well-written 1-page report. Don't forget, this means that you'll have a cover page, introduction, conclusion, and you're going to cite your sources properly using Microsoft Word or any other kind of citation device, right? So you can see the grading criteria there. Business report, right? This is not literature, so don't overthink this. If you have any concerns, always just go to that link in our Blackboard site, Course Info and Resources. The very first folder that pops up is that writing guidelines. And there's tons of helpful things in there like, oh, I haven't written a paper in a long time. What is she talking about? There's all the kinds of things that tell you what, just create a cover page. You have to have a cover page because you can't slap down a report on your boss's desk without a cover page telling them what the report is, who wrote it, the date, right? Because they've got 50 other reports on their desk. And it'll end up in the circular file, right? The garbage. And then assignment number 7, the PLE and ED ideas, questions, etc. So this goes back to the 2 projects. So note the projects will start next week, right? So now's the time to review them again and then ask questions. So the first one is worth 5 points. The PLE and ED projects, please share any questions, concerns, or anything else you'd like to ask or share about the projects, right? And number 2, the ED project, which is the employee development project. Please share who you'd like to use for your subject for the project. I want to make sure you're working with someone that will be the most beneficial to both of you, right? So you need my approval to help you with this. So don't pick your spouse because I'm going to say no. We're not going down that road. So if you have any questions or any concerns, let me know and I'll help you out. Bye.